Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into institutional finance.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, and I think this will be particularly interesting for you because you mentioned you've got a meeting coming up.
Yeah.
Where you think this might come in handy.
Right.
Or you just want to understand, like, the financial news better.
Yeah, definitely.
Or maybe you're just fascinated by, like, how all this big money gets moved around.
Yeah, it's a fascinating world.
So, you gave us a bunch of great stuff to work with, articles and reports and even, like, your own personal notes. And
Yeah.
our mission today is to kind of, like, distill all that down into, like, the most interesting and useful insights for you.
Awesome.
So first things first, what exactly are we talking about when we say institutional finance?
Well, think of it as managing huge sums of money by really big players.
Okay.
Like, your big banks, your investment firms, those massive pension funds you always hear about.
Right.
They manage trillions of dollars globally.
Wow.
And their decisions, they really impact the entire economy.
So it's not just about, like, a small group of people making decisions. It really does have this ripple effect.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got these giants moving money around, but, like, what are they actually doing all day?
So one of their core activities is asset management.
Okay.
Just imagine having to decide where to invest billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Choosing the right mix of stocks and bonds, real estate, and even things like private equity or venture capital.
It's a lot of responsibility.
There's a lot of pressure to make those investments grow.
Yeah, it sounds like a very high-stakes game of chess.
Right, but with real money.
With real money, yeah.
Yeah, and another key function is capital raising.
Okay.
This is how companies get the funding they need to expand their operations.
So that's where, like, the IPOs come in.
Exactly.
Where companies go public,
Right.
sell shares in the stock market.
That's a classic example of capital raising.
Okay, cool.
And then, of course, you've got the mergers and acquisitions.
Oh, yeah. Remember that time
Oh.
mentioned a recent high-profile merger from the news?
Huge deal.
Talk about some corporate drama.
M&A deals can be incredibly complex,
Right.
Involving billions of dollars
Yeah.
and really reshaping entire industries.
So we've got asset management, capital raising, M&A. Who are the actual people making these decisions? Is it just a bunch of, guys in suits on Wall Street?
Well, not exactly.
Okay.
Institutional finance is a very complex ecosystem with a variety of specialized roles.
Okay.
Like, for instance, investment bankers.
Okay.
They're the deal makers,
Okay.
the negotiators,
Yeah.
the ones who put together those massive M&A deals.
Oh, yeah.
They structure the transactions, bring all the parties to the table.
So they're like the architects of these big corporate shakeups.
You could say that.
Yeah.
And then there are the portfolio managers.
Okay.
They're the ones responsible for making those critical investment decisions.
Oh, so they're the ones really looking at the numbers.
Right. They're constantly analyzing data, assessing risks, and they're trying to make sure their clients' money is growing.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, big time.
Now, I know there's a lot of jargon in this world.
Right.
So I thought maybe we could decode some of it for our listener.
Okay.
Let's start with leverage.
Okay.
I always hear that word thrown around, but I'm not sure I fully get it.
Yeah. So think of leverage as using debt to amplify your potential returns.
Okay.
So let's say a company wants to invest $100 million,
Okay.
but they only have $50 million in cash.
Right.
So they can borrow the other $50 million,
Okay.
and that increases their investment power.
Got it.
But it also magnifies their risk.
Okay. So it's like a seesaw.
Exactly.
Right. More up, more down.
If the investment does well, they earn a larger return. But if it goes sour, they're on the hook for that debt.
So leverage can be good.
Right?
It can be bad.
Exactly.
It's all about how you use it.
It's a double-edged sword.
What about diversification?
Ah.
I hear that one a lot, especially when it comes to investing.
It's the idea of not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
Instead of investing all your money in one stock or one asset class,
Right.
you spread it across different assets,
Okay.
like stocks, bonds, real estate, commodities, even private equity.
Yeah.
This way, if one investment does poorly,
Right.
the others can potentially offset the losses.
Okay. So you're spreading the risk.
Exactly. Spread the risk.
Okay. Now, what about liquidity? Why is that so important in this world of institutional finance?
Liquidity is all about how easily you can convert an asset into cash
Okay.
without losing its value.
Got it.
So imagine you own a rare painting.
Okay.
It might be worth a lot of money,
Right.
but it could take you a long time to find a buyer
Yeah.
who's willing to pay the full price.
Right.
That means the painting is not very liquid,
Okay.
but cash, on the other hand,
Right.
cash is the most liquid asset.
Because you can use it right away.
Exactly. You can use it to buy anything immediately.
Makes sense.
So liquidity is about being able to access your money quickly when you need it.
Okay, so we've talked about, like, what these big institutions do.
Right.
We've talked about some of the jargon.
Yeah.
But I know that the world of institutional finance is also facing some pretty big challenges.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What are some of the things that keep, those CEOs up at night?
Well, one major concern is regulatory compliance.
Okay.
After the financial crisis of 2008,
Right.
there was a wave of new regulations
Right.
implemented to make the system safer.
Right.
But navigating this web of rules can be a real challenge,
I bet.
and the cost of compliance can be significant.
So it's not just about, like, making the right investments.
Right.
You got to make sure you're following all the rules.
Exactly. You've got to stay on the right side of the law.
Yeah, it sounds like you need a whole army of lawyers
You do.
just to make sure everything's in order.
Ab-
Another big challenge I imagine is, like, market volatility.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, how do you even begin to plan when things are changing so quickly?
Right. You've got geopolitical events,
Yeah.
economic downturns.
Uh-huh.
Even a single tweet,
Oh, yeah.
can send markets into a frenzy.
That's crazy.
Predicting these fluctuations and managing risk is a constant battle.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the news, right?
Exactly.
It's constantly bombarding us with information about, like, trade wars,
Yeah.
interest rate hikes,
Mm-hmm.
political uncertainty. It seems like the ground is constantly shifting.
It really is. It's a very dynamic environment.
And then on top of all of that, you've got technology, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like changing the game.
Big time.
How is technology impacting institutional finance?
Well, you've got artificial intelligence, big data,
Right.
blockchain technology.
Mm-hmm.
These are all transforming how decisions are made in finance.
So it's not just about crunching numbers on spreadsheets anymore.
Not anymore.
Technology is really, like, shaking things up.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
Some companies are even using AI to manage entire portfolios.
Wow.
Making decisions in milliseconds
Based on vast amounts of data.
based on huge amounts of data.
Wow. That's both fascinating
Right.
and a little scary.
It is a little bit scary.
So technology is a challenge, but it's also driving some major trends.
Absolutely.
And we're going to dive into those trends next.
Okay, so let's talk trends. You mentioned AI managing portfolios.
Yep.
That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Right.
Can you give us a real-world example?
Absolutely. A few hedge funds are actually using AI to analyze social media sentiment.
Oh, wow.
So they're scanning millions of posts and comments
Wow.
to gauge public opinion about a company.
Okay.
And then they use that data to predict stock price movements.
So it's not just about, like, financial data anymore.
No.
They're really, like, tapping into what people are thinking.
It's like having a finger on the pulse of the market, but powered by algorithms.
So they're looking at the collective wisdom.
Or maybe the collective anxiety of the crowd.
Right, exactly. It's a whole new level of market intelligence.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that, AI is still just a tool.
Right.
Human expertise is still vital,
Yeah.
to interpret the data, make the final investment decision.
It's reassuring.
Yeah,
I'm not quite ready to hand over my retirement savings to a robot just yet.
not yet, no.
You also mentioned decentralized finance, or DeFi.
Yes,
That sounds like a complete game changer.
it is.
Finance without banks.
Right.
How does that even work?
Well, imagine a world where you can lend or borrow money directly from other individuals
Okay.
using blockchain technology to secure the transactions
Yeah.
and track everything transparently.
Oh.
That's the essence of DeFi.
Oh.
It cuts out the traditional intermediaries like banks,
Wow.
and it creates a more open and accessible financial system.
So it's like peer-to-peer finance,
Yeah,
but on a global scale
exactly.
and powered by blockchain.
Powered by blockchain, that's right.
Are there any real-world examples of this?
Oh, yeah, there are actually quite a few.
Okay.
Take Aave, for instance.
Right.
It's a DeFi lending platform where you can deposit cryptocurrency as collateral and borrow other crypto assets.
Okay.
And it's all managed by smart contracts,
Oh.
which are essentially self-executing agreements written in code,
Oh, wow.
eliminating the need for a traditional lender.
So DeFi is actually happening right now.
It is.
It's not just some, like, futuristic concept.
It's still in its early stages.
Okay.
And there are risks to consider.
Of course.
But the potential is enormous.
It sounds like it could really democratize finance.
It could.
Give power back to individuals.
Exactly.
Okay, let's shift gears to another trend you mentioned.
Okay.
The growth of private markets.
Yeah.
Why are investors increasingly looking beyond traditional stocks and bonds?
Well, in a world of low interest rates
Okay.
and volatile stock markets, investors are hungry for alternative assets
Okay.
that can potentially offer higher returns. So things like private equity, venture capital, infrastructure projects,
Right.
these all fall under the umbrella of private markets.
So it's like venturing off the beaten path
Yeah,
in search of hidden treasures.
exactly.
But these markets are less transparent
Right? That's
than
true.
public markets.
Investing in private markets requires a certain level of expertise
Right.
and risk tolerance.
Makes sense.
It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
For example, let's say you invest in a private equity fund.
Okay.
That buys a stake in a promising startup.
Okay.
Your money is locked in for a certain period,
Right.
and there's no guarantee of a return.
Sounds risky,
It can be, yeah.
but I guess the potential rewards could be worth it
They could be.
for some investors.
It's all about balancing risk and reward.
Right, right.
Now, we've been talking about these big institutions,
Yeah.
these sweeping trends,
Right.
but how does all of this impact the average person?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to get lost in this world of high finance
Yeah.
and forget about the real world implication.
Well, think about those pension funds we discussed earlier.
Right.
They're managing the retirement savings of millions of people.
Yeah.
Their investment decisions directly impact the financial security of retirees.
Right, right.
And what about those banks
Yeah.
that are using AI to analyze loan applications
Oh, yeah.
that could impact whether someone gets approved for a mortgage or a business loan?
So it's not just about, rich people getting richer.
Yeah.
Institutional finance really does play a vital role
It does.
in shaping the economy and impacting our daily lives.
It impacts everyone.
And as we move forward, it's essential to consider the broader implication
It is.
of these trends
Yeah.
and ask ourselves some tough questions.
Like what?
Well, for one, how do we ensure that this new financial system is inclusive
Right.
and benefits everyone,
Yeah.
not just a select few? How do we balance innovation with regulation to foster a stable and sustainable financial ecosystem?
Those are some big questions.
Yeah, they are big questions.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
from AI-powered trading algorithms
Yeah.
to decentralized lending platforms. It feels like we're living in a time of unprecedented change
We are.
and uncertainty.
Yeah.
But amid all this disruption, are there any key themes that are emerging?
Well, I think sustainability is one.
Okay.
Investors are demanding that companies operate in an ethical and responsible manner.
Okay.
They're scrutinizing environmental impact,
Right.
social responsibility, even corporate governance practices.
So ethical investing is becoming mainstream.
It's gaining momentum,
Okay.
and it's likely to have a profound impact on how capital is allocated in the future.
Yeah.
Another key theme is the rise of the individual investor,
Okay.
with technology making it easier than ever to access information
Right.
and invest in a variety of asset classes.
Yeah.
Individuals are becoming more empowered,
Okay.
and they're playing a larger role in shaping the financial markets.
So it's not just about those big institutions anymore.
It's becoming more accessible.
The average person can get in on the action.
They can.
But that also comes with challenges, right?
It does.
Because as individuals take on more responsibility for their own financial well-being,
Yeah,
it becomes even more important
it does.
to have access to reliable information
Absolutely.
and the tools to make informed decisions.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You need a compass and a good map
You do.
to navigate this complex financial landscape.
It's a jungle out there.
But where do we even begin?
Right.
There's so much information out there. It can be overwhelming. Yeah, it can be really overwhelming.
It can.
But I think that's where, critical thinking comes in.
Right.
We need to be able to, filter through all the noise,
Yeah.
identify credible sources of information,
Absolutely.
ultimately make decisions that, align with our own values and goals.
You're absolutely right. It's more important than ever to be, discerning consumers of financial information.
Yeah.
We can't just blindly follow the crowd or the latest headlines.
So how do we develop those critical thinking skills?
Right.
Any tips for our listener?
Well, one key is to always ask why.
Okay.
Don't just accept information at face value.
Right.
Dig deeper.
Okay.
Understand the motivations behind the information.
Yeah.
And consider different perspectives.
Right. So don't just take everything as, the gospel truth.
Exactly.
Really think about, where is this information coming from?
Right. What's the agenda?
Yeah, what's the agenda?
Yeah, and don't be afraid to challenge assumptions. Even your own.
Right.
The financial world is constantly changing.
Right.
So what might have been true yesterday
Right.
might not be true today.
Makes sense. This deep dive has been incredible.
It has.
We've explored the players, the trends, the challenges,
Yeah.
the impact of institutional finance on our lives. But in a nutshell,
Right.
what are some key takeaways for our listener?
Well, I think the main takeaway is that institutional finance is not just some abstract concept that happens on Wall Street.
Right.
It's a complex system that touches every aspect of our lives.
Yeah.
From our retirement savings
Mhm.
to the infrastructure we rely on every day.
And it's a system that's undergoing a profound transformation.
It is.
Technology is reshaping the financial landscape,
Absolutely.
empowering individual investors,
Right.
creating new opportunities, but also raising new challenges.
It's a double-edged sword.
As this transformation unfolds, it's crucial to ask ourselves some fundamental questions.
It is.
How do we ensure that this new financial system is inclusive
Yeah,
and benefits everyone, not just a select few?
that's a big one.
How do we balance innovation with regulation
Right.
to create a stable and sustainable financial ecosystem?
Those are the million-dollar questions.
They are big questions, and I think, this deep dive has given our listener the knowledge and tools to engage in those conversations.
Absolutely.
The future of finance is being written right now,
It is.
and we all have a role to play in shaping it
We do.
by staying informed,
Yeah.
asking critical questions,
Mm-hmm.
and advocating for policies that align with our values. We can help create a more equitable and sustainable financial system.
We can. I agree with that.
This deep dive has been both fascinating and thought-provoking.
It has.
I know I've learned a lot, and I hope our listener has too.
Me too. It's always a pleasure to explore these complex topics
Yeah.
and uncover the connections that often go unnoticed.
So to our listener, we encourage you to keep digging deeper,
Yes.
keep asking questions,
learning.
and keep diving deep.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into institutional finance.
My pleasure.
Until next time.